Okay, going back into Lamplight City, I am Jeffrey Hauser. Blah, 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 blah. I think I'm on case 4, which I'm looking for the Justice Killer, who is leaving lilies at the scene, who we think is the same killer that killed our hero's partner. I don't even remember their names, so they're not making a huge impact on me. But that's neither here nor there. Let's see how we can go.
Must have been a... Not a very... At least the...
Fordham, what brings you to this delightful spectacle?
Hello, Edwards. I'm investigating the Justice Killer. I believe I've got a very promising lead.
I heard an officer mention new orders from Snelling, but I thought he was just pulling my leg. Feel free to have a look around. I'm just writing up the notes from my initial examination of the body, so I'll be happy to share my findings.
Good. I'll just get started then.
Looks pretty fresh. I wonder what the killer uses to write with. Nothing but a bunch of boring documents. You'd think he could have at least... biographies and... Nothing has been written in yet for next month. Curious. Odd. The page for this month has been torn out. Do you suppose Edwards might know anything about that? Leave it to a politician to hang... No signs of forced entry that I can see. The murderer... The former Percival McDonough, being a good politician.
Got a moment?
Of course.
So, what was found?
A dead body.
Edwards.
Hey, just trying to lighten the mood a bit. Anyway, there was also the word justice written in blood, as you can see on the floor there.
Is that all?
What more do you need? All the pieces are in place. This is the work of the Justice Killer.
What did your examination of the...
Apparent cause of death was a single gunshot to the head, exactly like all the other victims. The bullet is still lodged in his brain. I'll remove it once I transport the body back to the mortuary.
Anything else?
No personal effects of note, just a folded up piece of paper in his breast pocket. It's blank, so the police weren't interested. I assume you aren't either.
Never assume, Edwards. I'll take it if you don't mind.
Be my guest.
Did the police manage to learn anything during their investigation?
Not much beyond what I've already told you. I think they were planning on speaking to the victim's wife, though.
Did you get the address?
I did, as a matter of fact. 1820 Kent Place.
Now we get to deal with the grieving widow. Hopefully the officers who delivered the news got the worst of it.
Did you find an Easter lily anywhere?
An Easter lily?
Yes. The Justice Killer leaves one at every crime scene.
Is that right? I never noticed.
Neither did anyone else, apparently.
So how does leaving a lily at the scene of the crime figure into all of this?
I'm still trying to figure that out, but I think it might be important to understanding his motive.
Well, be sure to let me know if you do figure it out. The thought process of killers is a twisted, curious thing.
What's your take on this whole Justice Killer situation?
It's giving me a lot of extra work, let me tell you. We haven't had a serial murderer in a long time, not since that fellow who was poisoning people about 10 years ago.
Ah, yes. Gascon Ghoul. Now there was a case.
Any theories or insights regarding the killer's motive or identity?
That's not really my specialty. If you want to get into that psychology stuff, you're better off talking to someone like Snelling.
Does it feel good to be out of the office?
As long as I have the chance to examine a body and learn something in the... Though I do admit a preference to working in my own environment. Fieldwork can be a bit... There's so much more potential for contamination, especially with those clumsy officers trouncing about groping everything. Present company excluded, of course.
Edwards, did you notice...
I did. This month has been torn out. I asked the officers
So it wasn't found,
That's right. My theory is that the killer took it.
which means there was probably something incriminating written on it. If only there was some way of knowing what it was.
Miles, have you forgotten the oldest trick in the book? Just find a pencil and you'll have that information in no time.
Edwards, do you have a pencil I might borrow?
Of course. Take this one.
Thank you. That's all for now, Edwards.
Good luck with your investigation.
A classic trick. Let's see if it works. Intriguing. We'll need to find out who this Ruby is. Aha! McDonough met with this person the night of the murder. I'll bet 500 crowns it's a false name, but at least it's something. It seems the killer didn't want anyone to know about this meeting with McDonough, and possibly not with Ruby either. It seems... No time to wait.
What? Who are you?
I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. Your butler just announced me.
Oh, of course. Forgive me. I was just, well, never mind. Please make yourself comfortable, Mr. Fordham.
Thank you, Mrs. McDonough. I appreciate you seeing me, Mrs.
What exactly is it you want?
I just have a few...
Oh,
What can you tell me about you?
I'll tell you the same. Percival was one of the hardest working. The recent election caused him a terrible amount of consternation, as I'm sure it did most people. He took...
Did you see much of...
I beg your pardon.
Surely someone with such an important position in government could find themselves consumed by their work. Did he spend much time at home?
He made it a point to come home and have dinner with me every night, even if he had to return to the office afterward.
And did that...
At least 3 or 4. As I said,
Sounds to me like she's quite dedicated.
Did your husband have any enemies?
he was a politician, Mr. Fordham. Half the city hated him.
Did he ever receive any kind of threats against his life?
None that I have no idea who could have killed. He hadn't told me about any.
Was it his custom to inform you of his...
Oh, well, I've always taken an interest in my husband's work. He'd often mention initiatives he was working on or people he was meeting, that sort of thing. Nothing sensitive or confidential, you understand. Just conversation about his day.
Can you think of any reason why...
Not really. He was a vocal opponent of the construction of the Gascogne-Chumley Bridge, but
Why is that?
Well, it's just a bridge, isn't it?
I meant, why was he...
Oh, because the amount of money public funds should be used on roads and build. What's the point of having something shiny and new if everything around it is...
How are you feeling?
My husband of 42 years was shot in his office.
Tactful as always.
My apology. Is there any...
You can start by finding...
Do you know anyone named...
No,
I saw your husband had a meeting scheduled with him.
that can't be right. He didn't tell me about that. He always told me about his meetings.
It was written on his office calendar, clear as day.
As I said, I don't know who that person is. Why wouldn't Percival have told...
Why indeed?
Are you familiar with someone named Ruby?
I can't say I am. Who is it?
Just a name that's come up.
Sounds like the name of a trollop.
Have you heard of the Justice Killer?
That was the name the police mentioned when they told me about Percival's murder. It's absolutely terrifying to think that why is he called the Justice Killer? What justice was done?
I'm afraid I can't answer that right. Those are all the questions.
All right.
They look expensive, but I bet they're total. They look expensive. Just a painting of some... This one looks like a, lady... I think I'll call this one... Lord Alfred Ed... They look expensive, but I bet... Surely this one was called Lady Fel... Probably bet... Well, that doesn't look good. Well, that does... This place sure is...
Excuse me, sir. Are you in charge here?
Unfortunately. Who are you? This area isn't open to the public.
I'm Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator looking into the murder of one of your workers.
A private investigator, eh? And maybe you can help me out.
I'll do what I can, but I'll need to ask you some questions, Mr.
Mims. Sanford Mims. Go ahead, but make it snappy.
What can you tell me about Hannah, a former employee?
Listen, I've got a lot...
I understand, but it's important.
I'm sure it is, but as you can see, I've got a lot...
Well, he's no help.
What happened to your...
What's it look like? The damn thing went and got blown up.
Was it in disrepair?
Of course not. All my machinery... This is the work of those goddamn Redites. I'm sure of it.
What makes you certain the explosion...
Take a look, boy. Even if this had been a mechanical, the explosion would have been contained to a single part of the machine. This couldn't have been...
Have you had problems with...
They've sent anonymous letters, but this is the first...
You're absolute...
Yes. Listen, you said you were an investigator, right? If you do, I'll help you out with what...
Looks like we haven't got much of a choice.
I'll see what... How long...
Sometimes I think things were so much easier before we got these machines. They keep saying they're supposed to improve our lives. I've already had 5 of my best men get mangled by some of them. And then there's these damn... My hair wasn't this gray 5 years ago. I swear, one of these days, I'm just going to pack it all up and retire. Let someone else deal with these damn things.
Are you familiar with the...
The who?
He's a serial murderer who's killed 5 men over the past 4 months.
Is that right? Never heard of him.
He may have killed one of your men. Weren't the police here asking about it?
Oh, is that what that was all about? I know they came poking around here a while back.
It's nice to see the line...
I'll be...
Be careful.
Completely ruined. Whoever sabotaged this knew what they were doing. This place...
Hey,
My apologies.
Complete... Safe for only 25 men at once. I used to draw the line at 2. I wonder if it would be any fun to tie yourself to that. Huh, they seem to...
Excuse me.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator.
Who?
That's right.
I got nothing to say about him, and
I've only got a few questions.
I've got nothing to say to you. You want to know more about Bowditch?
Where can I find...
Ruined Coffee House. She's the serving girl. Now get out of here. If something falls on you, I'm not...
Short and to the point. Self-portrait as a desperate man.
Begging your pardon.
How can I help?
I understand you were involved.
Was involved, yes. I haven't spoken to him in nearly 2 months.
Oh, were...
What? Ennis is dead?
Well,
Indeed.
How did he...
I'm afraid
Murdered? By who?
those are exactly the questions I'm trying to answer myself.
Oh, I see. Are you a detective?
A private investigator, yes.
Well, I'll answer.
I'm certain... What was your relation...
Oh, well, it was nice at first. He was a proper gentleman-like. But then something changed.
Oh?
It's like I told Ruby. I think he might have got hit on the head at work because he seemed to be a completely different person. He'd get angry for no reason. He even...
Ruby.
Well, that bit's not important. At first, I thought he was just going through some rough times, but after a while I realized he'd changed for the worse. So I broke things off. He wasn't too happy about it, but I wasn't going to stick with a man like that.
This friend of yours, Ruby, did she know an MP named Percival McDonough?
I'm not sure. Ruby...
Is that so?
Well, no, oh, damn it all, me and my big mouth.
It's all right. No one's in trouble. Could you tell me where I can...
No. You see, she moves around quite a lot. Never in the same place for more than a night or two.
right. I think she's given us a clear picture of... Normally, I'd be all for pressing this girl more until she cracks, but I like...
Well, thank you for the... I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you.
Begging your pardon, miss.
Wrong button.
How can I help you, sir?
You've been work...
I have, yeah. Been a real pleasure getting to know all the regulars. By the way, whatever happened with you and...
I beg your pardon.
Oh, that nice lady you met in here a couple of times?
Oh, that? No.
Right. Well,
Are you familiar with the Justice...
Justice Killer?
I'll let you get...
Thank you.
You there! What are you doing?
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm trying to find out about...
No time for that now! Get in here and shield your eyes!
I beg your pardon?
Just do it!
What's going on exactly?
Shh! Everything ready, Alex? 3, 2, 1, go! Amazing! It works! It works!
What works?
Etheric lamps! Our experiment was a success!
What exactly have we wandered into here, Miles? I wouldn't get too close. So this is where all the lamps in the city come. Just a bunch of crap. Too bad you didn't.
May I ask you if...
Of course!
You worked with a man...
Yes, I heard he was killed. It's a shame he missed out on our demonstration.
Wasn't he concerned about losing his job to these technological advances?
He had no reason to. It's been made clear to all the workers that there will always be a place. Unlike some other places, we take care of our own here at the Lamplight Depot.
How noble. But I'm pretty sure he's full of...
Is there anything you know about Mr. Cause's personal...
I know he was married, but I don't believe he had any children. Oh, and he used to talk about his love for fishing.
Could you give me his home address? Perhaps...
Yes, certainly. He lived at 8
Thank you for the... Do you know any details about Mr. Cause's murder?
Unfortunately, I don't. The police were here asking questions.
Do you know of anyone who might...
Not at all. Burley was very friendly, always treated everyone. You know, it's sad to think that for all our leaps forward...
Are you familiar?
It makes me wish we could install... Someday, I hope to realize that dream. Then we'll really deserve to be called
You think brighter streets will stop...
It's well known that crime rates are lower in Lyon and Worcester.
I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the amount of wealth.
You mentioned some...
Yes! Weren't you paying attention to our demonstration? You have just witnessed history!
What I witnessed was a blinding flash of light.
Exactly! That flash was the result of years of painstaking research and experimentation.
If these experiments continue to be successful, as I suspect they will,
We'll have etheric street lamps before the end of...
imagine lamps that burn
Twice as bright, 4 times as long.
And if it's like anything else we've seen, it'll put a lot of people out of work.
With all these promises of technological advancement, have the Redites given you any trouble?
Oh, those tech-fearing dolts. Yes, I'm sorry to say that we've gotten threats from them. They have yet to carry any out, which is unsurprising.
How so?
Groups like that are all bluster and no backbone.
I've seen some evidence.
Is that right? Well, we've seen little beyond...
Do you have any of these letters I might...
Yes, I have one. I'll give it to you.
What is it you...
Oh, several things. This is the main hub of the city's...
It's really just a grandiose way of saying that this is where all affairs related to street lamps and...
But, in addition to sending out lamplighters or mechanics to repair damaged lamps, that's what my personal specialization is. I guess you could consider me a,
More like an everyday...
Thank you.
happy... Here's that
Now that's interesting. Whoever wrote this letter signed it with initials. They can't have been so stupid as to make themselves so easily identifiable, can they? I wouldn't get too... So this is the bunch of... Too bad. Remember, a black eye is not a badge of honor. Anyone picking a... Well, that's hardly any fun, is it? A good old reliable handsome cab.
Good evening.
Oh, it's you again. Small world.
Indeed. Mr. Shaw, was it?
That's right. So, what brings...
I wanted to ask you some questions.
Shouldn't be.
Did you know Reggie Willingham?
Reggie? Sure, I knew him. Well, just as rather I didn't.
Oh? Why do you say that?
The man was a bore. A scoundrel. A no good...
I wish he would tell us how he...
Only reason they kept him on here was because he was a good driver.
So, it's fair to say you...
Nobody did. When I heard he'd been killed, if I treated people the way he did,
Could you elaborate?
Oh, he was a proud one. Thought he was God's gift to mankind. Always strutting around, bragging about how many gratuities he'd earned or how many fist fights he'd won against drivers from Phillips. He had the shortest fuse I've ever seen, too. Just looking at him the wrong way could set him off. I'd always laugh to myself when he'd brag about how many women he'd had.
Why is that?
Because it was obvious he had to pay for the pleasure. I may not be a hit with the ladies, but even I know that being a bastard is a surefire way to drop 'em off.
Are you
I've heard a few rumors here and there about some... There's plenty for me to worry.
Aren't you...
Not really. Well, I haven't done anything wrong. So if this loony's going around doing justice, nothing...
He makes a good point. I think we need to get a better idea of what exactly these victims...
What can you tell me?
Not a bad place, really. Only problem is the number of people always coming here for work. Lots of folks think driving a cab is an easy job that anyone can do, but that's not... You need to know this city like the back of your hand. And it helps to know. So we get lots of fellas starting here who don't have the slightest clue what they're doing. They don't last long.
What about the automated cabs?
I prefer not to think about those. Coulson said he's got no plans to replace his fleet, so it's all...
Are you still...
I am. Things are more or less the same. Except Roger's not around anymore. Suppose he... Hope he isn't planning on coming back, because his paintings made for great kindling.
Oh, I have a feel. Have you had any trouble?
No, sir. They got no reason to give us any trouble. What with us still using horse-drawn cabs? I imagine the fellas over at Phillips have, but I can't be certain. We don't deal with those a lot if we can help.
I don't think interviewing anyone from Phillips would be a good use of our time.
I appreciate.
Play.
I thought about a career as a No time to waste.
Hello.
Probably best to leave her. She's busy.
Fordham,
I'm making some.
is that right?
The rumor was always that the chief kept a bottle of something in a secret compartment in this cabinet. Every book and file in there is organized to you should bump into the side.
Chief Snelling?
Yes, Fordham?
What information?
Clearly not.
I see how this...
Well, would...
A list of 5 victims, some information on each of them, and no clear idea what connects them. Until your discovery of the lily at each scene, well, I doubt this discovery will do much to aid in...
Do you know anything about...
He's a member of Parliament. I believe his constituency is somewhere in central Kingsland. From the reports I've gotten, McDonough led a rather unassuming... He is, however, the first victim who didn't live in Chumley. Either there's a link we've missed. Then again, since you seem so confident...
Count on it. What do you know about the...
Only what's in their files. All working men from...
You didn't look further into their personal lives? Maybe they had some social connection.
As I said, the detectives found nothing. You seem to think you can do better, so I'll leave it.
You have to wonder how much more thorough the department's investigations would have been if the full...
So I see the department is still running like a well-oiled machine.
It is, in fact. But I'm sure up to... Incidentally, the woman accused in the Harris kidnapping is set to testify in court today.
Linda Walker's trial is today? That was fast.
Indeed. Sometimes the wheels of justice grind slowly. Sometimes they spin out of... She'll be taking the stand within the hour. If you care to...
Have you got any information on the Redites?
The Redites? That ridiculous... What's your...
A witness is refusing to speak with me unless I can figure out who sabotaged his iron mill.
I see. All I can offer is a list of names of known... But I remind you that you only have until tomorrow afternoon before this...
That's my...
Very well. I'll...
Listen, about Leger...
I don't want to hear it. What happened, happened. Nothing you can say is going to change...
And if I manage to find
the man responsible, even if you manage to find the culprit you let escape, it isn't going to bring Leger back from the dead.
But it will bring close...
If that thought is what allows you to...
What makes him think you sleep it?
Enjoy...
Reaping the rewards for years of hard work and dedicated service. A gratifying feeling you'll never be...
Oh, I get my...
I'm sure you do. And
I need to get back...
Yeah. Here you are. This is the...
This is a lot of names. If we're going to track down this saboteur, it might be best to retire to a more tranquil environment. Fancy a trip back to Upton's? Remind me, Miles, why are we here again? Is this...
Shh.
Mrs. Linda Walker.
I had to see if I could speak with my...
Yes. According to your initial statement, you seem to believe that the Harris child is the reincarnation of your own deceased son.
All the evidence was there. I thought it had to be him.
And in regards to the execution of your plan, you secretly administered a soporific drug to your friend and the Harris family nanny, Mrs. Henrietta Davis? Is that correct?
Yes. I felt terrible about doing it, but there was no other way.
According to your journal, you used a mixture of chamomile and valerian, instructed by a Samuel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Samuel is a friend of mine. He works at the docks, and...
So it was your idea?
Yes, that's right. He only told me about the plants. He's quite the expert. Why, you should see his collection of Easter lilies.
Did she just say what I think she said?
Now then, let's turn our...
Interesting. This Samuel person might be worth looking into. Although we can't waste time searching. I'd make a note of it, just in case. All right, I've had enough of this courtroom. Right, this should be a quiet enough spot to... I just hope Upton doesn't mind you turning her parlor.
I'm sure she'll have... Now, let's...
Unless Mr. McKee has escaped from... I think we can rule out Mr. Sullivan as a suspect. He's Western Vespuccia's problem now. Paris Wilson. Those initials don't match the ones on the letter. I don't think this is our suspect. If dead men could cause explosions, let's just say things would be a lot different. This clearly isn't the right suspect. Peyton Ferguson. The initials match those on the letter we got at the Lamplight Depot.
I'd say it's our best bet.
Lucian Donaldson. Those initials don't match the ones on the letter. I don't think this person is our suspect. It looks pretty simple.
Well, well, who's this lovely specimen?
Allow me to introduce Peyton Ferguson, known Redite and prime suspect in a sabotage at the Thorbomb Ironworks. I picked him up and brought him straight to you.
Ooh, a saboteur. Just leave him to me.
Please find the Justice Killer soon, Miles.
Right. Mr. Mill?
Yes?
I found the person responsible.
Oh, yeah?
His name is Peyton Ferguson. He's currently at the Bow Street.
Hey, not bad.
He's certainly...
What can you tell?
Good worker. Mostly kept to himself.
Do you know if...
Enough to want him dead? Nah. There's the occasional scrap. But like I said, he mostly kept to himself.
Do you know what he did outside?
No idea.
You said...
One of my best. I knew something was up when he didn't show up. Don't think he'd ever miss work.
Did he have any personal effects he kept here, or an area where he worked?
He had a cabinet downstairs in the workers' changing area. You can go take a look if you want. But now Kirkland's cabinet is the third one.
I'll be going now.
Be careful.
At least having a heater down. Just another one. Just another. Just another. Just.
Huh.
Sounds like there's someone in there. If you weren't...
Yeah?
Would you happen to know the...
No. Every worker sets their own...
What happens if they...
Well, have them come up with some sort of personal reminder.
And do you still have Kirk?
I'll give it to you as soon as we're...
I'll be going.
Be careful. There you go. You're lucky I only clean...
See? I always told you.
Nine is the shipwreck. Because that was the picture in there. The sign. Let's check the sign.
Empty. That's disappointing.
Not completely empty. There's something at the bottom here.
Why is the red and the white 3?
It seems our friend Hannibal had a few extracurricular activities after all.
Gilded lily, huh?
Who knew such a pretty flower could cause such... The answer to that question is me, in case you were wondering. Flowers?
That's enough, Bill.
He seems right. Apartment 2A. The number is a bit faded. Is this 2B?
Yeah?
Hello, madam. My name is Miles.
You mean my form?
Yes.
Nah, I don't think so. The last person to...
I'm sorry you had a bad experience.
Well, that's easy for you to say.
Uh-oh.
Is there anything I...
Well, my layabout husband is out wasting our retirement fund with his drinking. Go find...
Oh, wonderful.
You'll find him at the Silent Raven. It's...
Yes, I know.
Good. My husband's name is Kurt Williamson.
I'll do my best.
And I thought the house... And I thought... There doesn't seem...
Excuse me.
I...
Do you know anything?
Not really. He comes in. I see his type all the time, though. Older, I feel sorry for him, but that's...
Are you familiar?
What is that?
No.
I see. Never heard of him. And if he's...
You know, this place suddenly feels just a...
How are things here now that the election hubbub is...
Oh, right. I thought you looked familiar.
That's right.
Well, there hasn't been too much excitement since then. I've hardly had to toss anyone out.
Why's that?
Kicking out a rowdy customer shakes things up a bit on a quiet night like this.
What would a customer have to do?
My general rule is if they try to pick a fight or are just being generally disrespectful, it's a one-way ticket to the pavement outside.
Good to know. What was he...
Pick
I...
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's right.
Miles Fordham.
Oh, yeah?
Ethel sent me to...
I can't get away for more than a few hours before How much of my retirement fund did she waste on getting...
I'm only doing this because I need some...
You can just go back and tell her I'll come home.
Why is it
I enjoy going out.
Your wife told me she doesn't like you spending your...
What I spend my money on is none of her. What's this world coming to when a man can't even drink in peace without all his affairs shouted from the rooftops?
You know, this whole situation...
Listen, Mr. Williamson, I think I know what you're...
Oh, yeah?
My wife and I were having a rough patch. I wasn't being honest with her.
But you managed to...
Yes, I was fortunate. I did the right...
And what did you...
It was simple. I just communicated. And you know what? Have you ever told Ethel why?
No. I assumed she wouldn't understand. I really wish she would come out with me.
How do you know?
Well,
then maybe you should. If she knew you wanted company, she might just...
You know? I'm going to go home right now and tell her. And if she refuses,
that's the...
Thanks for the...
Not bad. I have to... Doesn't look...
Ah, Mr. Fordham. Thank you.
Don't mention it. Now.
Well, yes.
Tell me what you know.
He and his wife hadn't been living next door very long, but I didn't talk to either of them very much. It's a shame, really. Maybe if we had known one another.
What happened on the day Mr. Cause was killed?
I was here at home doing my knit. All of a sudden, I heard. I went and knocked on Mrs. Cause's door, but there something seemed wrong. So I decided to report the incident to the police. Not long. Awful man he was. So rude. I gotta report him, but I forgot his name. I think it's...
Parsons?
Yes, that's him. He called for some more officers, and that's when I found that...
Where is Miss...
I don't know, with her mother, maybe. That's you.
You wouldn't happen to know where that is?
Afraid not.
Yes?
Don't say I told you this, but I tried ignoring it since it's really not...
What was it you...
I don't believe they had a...
What would they fight?
Oh, all sorts of things. The worst one was when I think he might have hit her on a few occasions. I hope you don't think me a horrible old gossip, but I thought...
Not at all. Are you familiar with...
You mean the serial killer?
That's the one.
Nah.
I'm
just pulling...
I like this one.
Unfortunately, I only know what I've read in the Gazette, but I'm with Kurt going out by himself for hours at a...
How long have you been living here?
Well, Kurt and I moved in shortly after we were married, so it's been about 30...
Goodness, that's...
Yes, well, the building may be a bit run down, and it gets cold. You can't really ask...
I appreciate your...
Have a...
There doesn't seem to be anyone at home. There doesn't...
Well, hello there, handsome. Welcome. Come over here and tell me...
I'm afraid I'm...
Oh,
I'm Miles Fordham.
you can call me Serafina.
You won't mind if I take a look around.
As long as you keep to the front room, you can do whatever you like. Beyond that...
maybe it's best if you leave this part out. Oh, my virgin... What a charming statue. Wouldn't she get cold fetching water in that state of undress? You certainly won't find art like that at the National Gallery. I'm not too familiar with places like this, but I believe that's where...
May I ask you...
Of course you...
Do you know anything about the Justice Killer?
I'm afraid not, dear. I don't normally associate with killers.
Are you sure you don't know anything?
Well, I can assure you, if the trail has led you...
Yeah, she seems awfully certain of that.
Did you have a...
I make it my practice not to learn the names of any... I hate to disappoint anyone who comes through those doors, but...
Well, at least you know you can trust...
Do you buy...
Ruby? Yes. She's not in any sort...
Not at all.
Well, she should be in the dressing room. If you go through the rear door and follow the hallway down, it's the
I see. Did you know Percival McDonough?
The politician? I I knew who he was, but
He was seeing Ruby.
not regularly, no. In fact, his first and only visit with her was...
Were you aware that he was murdered?
I had no idea.
Yes, it is terrible.
This is a lovely establishment you have. And such a nice name, too.
Thank you, my dear. It wasn't always called the Gilded Lily, though. We were formerly known as Le Maison de Tolérance.
What inspired the name change?
Ah, that's a bit of a long...
How long have you been...
Going on 25 years. There's a reason this is the world's...
So...
Like many of the other girls, it was... I had no interest in being beholden to a husband. I may be a fallen woman, but better to fly and fall.
Do you enjoy the...
It's a job like any other, Mr. Fordham. But my girls are my family. We take care of each other.
Thank you for your time.
Of course.
Looks nervous. What?
Oh, hello. Did Serafina send you back here for me?
Yes, but not for the usual reasons. I'm a private investigator. My name is Miles Fordham. Ruby, I presume?
Yes, that's right. What do you need from me?
Just some information.
Well, I'll do my best.
The girls here don't get much in the way of a dressing area. Still, the girls here don't... No lilies? See? That's a nice locket for being so... Cut down in her prime. I can relate. Cut... No. I'm guessing this is where most of the girls... I'm guessing this is where...
So, Ruby,
Yes?
have you heard of the...
No,
He's a serial murderer who's killed 5 victims.
Oh dear. That sounds dreadful. Is that what you're investigating?
It is. Do you know anyone who might have some information about him?
I don't.
Did you ever have a...
No, that name...
Do you know Ennis Bowditch?
Bowditch? Didn't think I'd be...
As I understand it, he was seeing your friend, the serving girl at the ruined coffee house.
Yeah, that's right. Annabelle. She broke things off with him a while ago, though.
So she said. Did you ever know him to be violent?
Violent? The bastard nearly beat Annabelle's brains in once. Why do you think she chucked him?
Oh,
At least she had the good sense...
Perhaps we should go confirm this newly
Did you ever meet a man named Burley Caw?
No, I never met him, but one of the other girls... I remember because she was laughing about his name. He wasn't very... burly.
Right. Are you familiar with...
Oh, him?
Really? What?
He got way too rough with one of the girls. She ended up shy a few teeth.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, apparently he wasn't too good riddance to...
Were you aware that Mr. Will...
What? Oh, well, now...
I think I know what you... You met recently with Percival McDonough, is that right?
How did you know that? I thought he was...
He had your name written...
And you found me here?
Well, I am a...
Suppose that... Anyway, yes. I only met him the one... After we finished, he got all emotional about his... I hate it when they...
How long have you...
Only a few... Used to work in a kitchen, but then they brought in some of those new... At least this profession isn't in any danger of being made obsolete by steam tech. Cold steel can never...
Let's just hope...
I'll just leave you to...
Thanks, love.
We've exhausted her knowledge for...
Begging your... I spoke with your friend Rube.
What was...
She said that Ennis had fits of violence, and that the reason you ended your relationship was because he hit you.
Why would she tell you that? That was my secret.
It's obvious she cares about you,
Well, it hardly matters now.
but is it true?
Yes. As I said before, something changed in him.
I see. Thank you for your honor. I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you.
Probably best. No time to wait. Leave him to it. No need to talk to him.
Where else do I have to go then?
Therein lies Upton's boudoir. As a matter of... Therein... Whew.
Where's the lily here?
Leave it to Apollo. The former... It seems the killer didn't want it. It seems the... No time to... Looks pretty fresh. Nothing but a bunch of... He seems rather... Just another... At least having... Completely... We've exhausted... The girl's here to... I think we're good on... Cut. No look.
Not sure what that means.
That's a nice... No. That... I think we're... We've exhausted... Looks nervous. What a charm. Oh! You certainly won't... She's big. This self-portrait as it...
Can I listen in on these
You
guys?
heard about the murderer? The justice killer?
I can indeed.
Asleep, but...
It's pretty crazy, huh? Killing everyone out there, huh?
Just a bunch of crap. Too bad you didn't get a... Too bad you didn't get a chance. I wouldn't get... I wouldn't get too... So then, leave him to... The rumor was always... No need to talk... No time to... No signs of... Leave it to Apollo. History books. Nothing but a bunch of... It seems the killer didn't want anyone to... It seems the killer... The former History... This one?
Can we talk some more?
I suppose.
Are you familiar with the art of cryptography?
What an odd question.
It's just I noticed several books on the subject in your husband's office.
Oh, well, yes. Percival, he would sometimes leave me coded notes when we first began courting many years ago.
What kind of notes?
Oh, now, Mr. Fordham, those were private. But sometimes he would write them using a special ink that would only appear when the paper was heated. I can't remember the last time he did that, though.
Those are all the questions I have for now, Mrs. McDonough.
All right, Mr. Fordham.
If this actually works, I'll eat my hat.
Well, I'll be damned.
Can we talk some... Do you know anything about this letter?
I'm afraid I don't have my spectacles. What is it?
The coroner found it in your husband's pocket. He gave it to me because he thought it was blank. But after you told me about your husband's propensity for writing secret messages, I decided to try exposing the paper to heat. Allow me to read it to you. Dearest Mary, words cannot express the regret and sorrow I feel for how I acted last night. I swore to myself I would never harm you again after the last time, but I have failed us both. It is my deepest hope that you can forgive me and trust that I will never allow this monster out again.
I see. May I have that letter, Mr. Fordham?
I'm afraid I have to keep it for now. It's evidence.
I suppose that does.
Mrs. McDonough did...
He wasn't a bad man, Mr. Fordham. It's just the stress of his responsibilities I would try and offer comfort. There are a few instances where
Did he ever hit you? How many times did this happen?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe 2 or 3.
What a bastard. Maybe it serves a...
Thank you for your can.
Can we please talk about...
Those are all the questions.
All right.
Lord... They look We've exhausted... What a charm... Oh! You certainly... Looks... I'm guessing this is what... I think we're good on question. The girls here don't... That's enough. That's... No Lily? Lily, 1809 to 1843. I wonder what happened to her. Damn shame to be cut down in the prime of your... Damn shame. The girls...
So, Ruth...
Yes?
That's a rather nice portrait.
Oh, that's Lily. Serafina knows loads about her. Even changed the name of this. You might try asking her.
I'll just...
Thanks, love.
May I ask you...
Of course you may.
Could you tell me about the...
That's Lily Peterson. She was a wonderful woman, and...
What?
It's a rather... The short version is this. She was with a client who got very carried away. She was able to defend herself enough to mortally wound the bastard, but the damage had already... The girls and I decided among us that we would rename this establishment in her honor. Some days it's still hard to believe she's gone. I haven't even been able to get rid of her box of things.
I'm very sorry for your loss, Serafina.
Thank you, dear. It was especially awful given Lily's past. Her sister died at the hands of her own husband some 16 years before. Some people just can't escape.
Huh. Something tells me these deaths are significant. It might be a good idea to learn as much as we can.
Thank you for your time.
Of course.
Can I get Lily's box out of this cabinet?
I'm guessing this... Damn shame to be... Nope. That's a nice...
So...
Yes?
Serafina told me that Lily's possession...
Yeah, in that cabinet over there. Lily had a special place in Serafina's heart.
Do you think I could...
Oh.
Serafina never has to know. I promise...
But, alright. I'll get it...
I'll just...
Thanks, love. There you go.
These don't look too valuable. A cheap ring. Must have had sentimental value. Nice scarf. Impressive. Let's see. It's kind of sad that Lily... It's kind of sad. One of 3 buttons with an engraved lily on it. I wonder if they're just decorative or if they have... Well now, I think we just found ourselves a bonanza. Nice. It's kind of sad that sheep, these don't look too valuable. The girls...
So,
Yeah?
I found this letter inside a secret compartment.
I thought we agreed you wouldn't.
This is a special case. This letter's from Lily's nephew, the Justice Killer.
Oh, I see. Look, I've only been here a short time. I don't know anything about Lily or any killers or any.
You know, I think she's telling the truth.
I'll just leave you to.
Thanks, love.
May I ask?
Of course you may, but...
Serafina, what can you tell?
Her nephew? Lily didn't talk much about her family.
You're not lying to me.
I have nothing to hide.
Except maybe the truth. But I don't think we have what we need to make her talk. If they're even...
Thank you for your time.
Of course.
He seems rather upset.
Chief.
Yes?
Do you recall a murder involving a woman?
Lily Peterson. Of course, the prostitute murder.
No, it wasn't.
As I recall, the woman was beaten severely by one of her clients, who escaped and was never found. She died a few days later in the hospital. How is this of any relevance, exactly?
That's what I'm trying to piece together. Did you know that Lily Peterson had a sister who was killed some 16 years ago?
I didn't. Are you suggesting that's related somehow?
I think it is. Would you be able to get me the...
What was the victim's?
That's what I'm trying to...
That might be a bit more difficult. Unless you can get...
I'll try my...
Very well. What year did you say the case...
It was 16 years ago, so 1828.
Right. And who was the detective assigned to the case?
It was Lester.
Right. He was quite active. And what was the victim's official call?
It was a shoot.
All right. There's nothing. I suggest you get your details.
there's the name of the detective.
Chief, yes. I can. What?
It was 18.
Right. And who?
It was less.
Right. And what was?
It was a stabbing.
All right. I see.
Chiefs.
Yes.
I really.
I can. What year?
It was 8.
Right.
It was.
Right. And what?
Man, what did I choose last time?
It was all. I. Chief. Yes. I can. What year?
It was
right.
It was
right. And what?
It was
all right. I.
Chiefs.
Yes. I can. What? It
was
right.
It was left.
Right. And what?
It was
all. I suggest you.
There. Mostly.
Hello.
Probably. No time. He seems right. Just enough. Just enough. Leave it. Damn shit.
Based on her death, I'm going to go 1827. I don't know what year I was selecting. Her death year minus 16.
Chief Snell.
Yes. I can. What?
It was 16 years.
Right. And who was the...
It was...
Right. And what...
I can't find any information on the cause of the death of the sister.
It was a...
All right. There's nothing I can see that matches the information you gave me. I suggest you get your details in order before you attempt to waste my time.
Okay, 16 years ago based on 1844 would be 1828.
Chiefs.
Yes.
I need to get back.
Yeah.
Chiefs.
Yes.
I really need to take a...
I can... What year?
It was...
Right. And who was the...
It was...
Right. And what?
It was...
All right. I...
Chief.
Yes.
I really...
I can... What year?
It was...
Right.
It was...
Right. And what was...
It was...
All right. Yeah. This should be a match.
So we have our killer's last name and possible first name, assuming he's the same man Linda Walker talked about. Perhaps it's time to ask about him at the docks. Blank surfaces don't stay that way. Blank.
Trevor Hastings, is that you?
Why, Detective Fordham. Fancy seeing you again. What brings you?
I'm trying to track down a serial murderer, who I believe is the same man who was breaking...
You don't say. I wish I could help you, but the guy never came back after... Where is your part?
Oh, he's...
Well, give him my regards. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get this crate back. Was Cecilia?
Of course.
He's around? That's probably...
Keep up the...
Huh? What?
Hello, sir. I was...
Go ahead, but...
Are you familiar?
I believe I saw a headline in the newspaper recently mentioning that name. But there are more important...
But the Justice Killer is directly responsible...
Oh? Well, there's nothing I can do about it. What my men...
Wow, this guy is even worse.
Do you know a man?
Yes, I do.
Is he working?
No, it's his day off.
I'm very interested in speaking with him. Could you tell me where I can find him?
I don't just give out information on my men to...
I believe he may be in...
Is that right? And what...
I believe...
What? You've got quite some amount...
What is...
I'm in charge of tracking and cataloging all the cargo. I receive the shipping manifest and make sure that things get unloaded and sent to the right place.
And you do all the...
Oh, of course not. I'm in charge of administration. A team of workers does all the...
About...
Yes? What about him? You've made a... What?
Uh...
Stop...
About
what?
The Hanbrook Flower Shop. He stole several orders of Easter lilies.
The Hanbrook Flower Shop? They're not one of my
A minor detail. The point remains that your man's a burglar.
That's quite a serious claim. What proof do you have?
You can hear it straight from the man who works at the shop that was burgled.
Well, where is he then?
Wait here just a moment. Excuse me, Mr. Hastings?
What is it, Detective? As I said, I'm rather busy.
I was wondering if you might help me with something. Could you please tell the shipping manager over there about the burglaries at your flower shop?
Certainly.
Go ahead, Mr. Hastings.
Right. It all started around 5 months ago. And he didn't come around again after that night.
Thank you, Mr. Hastings. That'll do. Now are you convinced?
Fine. I hate to lose 2 of my men in such a short amount of time. But if he's done wrong, I can't just stand by. Samuel lives in Chumley, at 210 Abattoir Row.
Thank you, sir. You may have just saved several lives.
But I'm going to have to spend several crowns in order to get things back to normal. Now, if you'll excuse me...
Samuel Collins?
Yes?
I'm Terrence Shackley from the Labor Department. I wanted to ask you some questions about your employer at the docks.
Oh, of course. Please come in. I'm sorry, what did you say your name was?
Terrence Shackley? But it's not my real name. I just used it to get into your apartment. I believe you did something similar at the Houses of Parliament with Mr. McDonough.
So, you're Fordham, the one who was snooping around at the Gilded Lily.
Indeed. We meet again, Mr. Collins.
Of course. The rooftop. I'm sorry about what happened to your partner. It wasn't my intent for him to die.
Oh, he's sorry, is he? Is that supposed...
I suppose this encounter was... But I admit I didn't think it would be this soon.
That's right. Samuel Collins, I'm placing you under arrest for the murders of Percival McDonough, Burley Cause, Ennis Bodett.
I told you once already, Mr. Fordham. Every one of those men...
Why do you say that? None of those men...
No. What they did was far worse. Inexcusable. I had to make sure justice.
I understand your reasons. You need to pay for your crime.
My crimes? What about theirs?
There are other ways of upholding justice, Collins. Wait.
The system is broken. Criminals get
Only too well.
But you comprehend my situation. You understand my reasons for doing what I do.
Understanding is not the same as approval.
But it is the first step.
Is this bastard really suggesting what I think he is?
All I ask is that you allow me to continue my work in peace.
You asked me to look the other way once before, and I refused.
Yes, and it cost your partner's life.
Well, this time it's just you and me, and I'm still not going to let you off. You're out of your mind if you think I'm going to just let you keep killing.
Damn right, Miles. This has to end.
Then you leave me no choice.
Fordham, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank God you're a better shot than I was.
So, this is our justice killer?
That's right.
I suppose congratulations are in order. You did well in finding him.
Thank you, Chief Snelling. I'm glad we were finally able to work together.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you weren't so brash as to confront him without notifying me first. Perhaps there is hope for you yet. Now then, I'll go get the other officers so we can lock down the scene and remove the body. Wait here.
Quite a night, eh, Bill? Bill? Are you there? Bill?
if that's a happy ending or a bittersweet one.
It's good of you to do this, Miles. Do you need some time alone?
If you wouldn't mind.
All right. I'll wait for you over by the sycamores.
So, it's finally over. I have to admit, it's been strange not hearing you all the time anymore. Never in a million years did I think I would actually miss it. But the important thing is you've moved on, and I got what I was looking for. I'm starting up my own private detective agency, you know. Addie and Upton are going to be my partners. It should be interesting, to say the least. Oh, that reminds me. I brought you a little something. It's not much, but I thought you might appreciate it. Thank you for all your help, Bill. I truly would have been lost without it. Goodbye, old friend. I love you.
So, I understand very different choices throughout the game can cause slightly different things. It wasn't bad. It was a bit boring at times. I don't know if I'm inspired to actually play through again and try to force different choices. Like I feel I nailed the second case, but the first and third, I don't know if I did those in the perfect, most ideal way. In the very final scene, there was a blue cup on the table. That's a callback to Adventure Game Studio, which is used in a lot of games. I don't know where the blue cup comes from, but that's sort of it's an Easter egg, which is a nod to the actual original or the tool somehow. I didn't think the voice acting was really all that great. For what it's worth. The dead narrator I thought was pretty good. But the rest of it kind of fell flat primarily. The graphics were as good as they are for games of this type. I kind of wanted to see the ghost of the partner drink the beer at the gravestone. Just sitting through all this to see if something happens at the end, like a final cutscene. Aha! I did unlock some bonus content, apparently. I'm not going to go over that on camera screen, though. It's probably just screenshots and stuff. Every once in a while, a game like this throws in commentary, which I think is pretty cool. I love the idea of... I've only stepped through a few games with commentary on them, though. And that's it. Thank you, everybody who created the game.